welcome to Coffee and Kolache. It's February 6, 2026, and we're getting the year kicked off with our series every month of Coffee and Kolache. Today, I'm Stephanie Cohn, the curator, and I'm with Tricia Spence, Director of Communications, and we're going to talk about kind of the upcoming year. I'll tell you about the exhibits that we're going to have in 2026, and then we'll turn it over to Tricia, and she'll talk more about some of the other events and the other ways that you can stay connected to the NCSML. So I'll talk right away about exhibits coming up. We have about at least 12 different exhibits every year, sometimes 13 or 14. It just depends on the year, but I kind of was counting. I think I have about 12 set for 2026. So right now we have Spotlight on Slovakia. That is going to close actually in about a week. On February 16th is the last day for that. So that's been a really successful exhibit for us, showcasing our Slovak artifacts in our own collection. And I think people have really enjoyed seeing those artifacts on display in our Smith Gallery. And another exhibit that we have currently that's going to close in March is the Soul of Moravia, the Joza Uprka collection. And that is an art collection from George Drost, who has collected a lot of Joza Uprka art. And this art is really interesting because Joza Uprka was born in Moravia, and he mostly painted people in folk dress or people engaged in attending folk festivals or attending religious services. So he really was focused on the folk life and the folk customs and the kroja of Moravia mostly, and a little bit of Slovakia. So his paintings are just wonderful, and they are really capturing what the folk dress looked like around the turn of the last century, late 1800s, early 1900s. And they're so accurate that ethnographers actually use these paintings to kind of really delve into what the folk dress was like or what people were doing when they would go to certain pilgrimages and festivals. And he was a very prolific painter, probably over 900 known works. And our good friend George Drost has the largest collection of Uprkas in the United States. And there are, of course, museums dedicated to him in the Czech Republic, and there are plenty of private collectors as well. So that's been a wonderful exhibit for us, and still have another, about 6 or 8 weeks left for that one. So that's pretty exciting. And also on display right now is woodcut Mozart. That's in the Anderson Gallery, and that is our own collection of these really charming woodblock prints that Mark Hoffman created those. He did kind of the old technique from the Middle Ages where he carved images on the wood blocks, and then he applies inks and paints to them and presses them onto the paper. And what he's illustrating are actually scenes from Mozart's operas. So, of course, Mozart was not Czech, but he has a really strong connection to the Czech lands because he would premiere some of his operas, most famously Don Giovanni in Prague at the Estates Theater. So it's definitely got a Czech connection. It's a Czech artist, and we know that Mozart had a lot of his operas performed in Prague. And if you remember the movie Amadeus, that was filmed largely in Prague and around the Czech Republic by Milos Forman was the director. So that was a wonderful movie from the 80s about Mozart. And it's a really great collection that we have of these woodcut prints. So they're on display right now, and they'll be on display, probably till maybe April or something. They're up for another couple of months. So that's kind of what's on display right now, and I'll get into now what's upcoming in 2026. So right here in the library space, opening in a few days, will be something called Matters of Record, Framing History. So we're using this as a chance to display all of these framed certificates and documents and diplomas that find their way into our collection. And these are really interesting because they have a lot of information in them. They're usually very pretty because they're meant to hang on someone's wall. In a marriage certificate, it's not the legal document, it's more of a keepsake where the bride and groom's names and dates are filled into a pre-printed, beautiful document that you can then frame and put on the wall. And it might have pictures of married life on it, or quotes from the Bible, or other beautiful emblems and scenery on it. And a diploma could be just telling when a person got their degree, and it is usually very elaborate as well. And these things they're nice to look at, and people save them because they're kind of an important part of their family's history. But for us, they can be valuable not just to look at, but just they contain a lot of information. So if you think about somebody doing research genealogy research or historical research, there's a lot of information contained in those certificates. So that's going to be up starting February 14th. We'll have that up here in the library, right in these walls behind us is where that's going to be. The library is a really great space for some of our smaller exhibits or exhibits that have to do with library materials or books. So it's a really nice space. If you do get to visit us, you should definitely check out the library and see what we've got on display. Another upcoming exhibit in March will be Dressler pottery. So we're actually in the process of getting a really significant collection of Dressler pottery. And Julian Dressler was a ceramics maker in what was then Bohemia, was not Czechoslovakia yet because it's the 19th century. And his work was pretty significant for porcelain collectors and the porcelain market at that time. So this is a really large collection that is being gifted to us really within a matter of weeks. We should have it here. So we're going to put it on display right away. And I think that'll be really interesting for people to see. I don't think we actually have any of Dressler's pottery in our collection yet. So it's really nice to get this big, important collection of many different pieces that we can show and study. Then a really exciting exhibit that's coming this summer should open at the end of April. We're hoping April 30th, and it's called From Needle and Thread to UNESCO, the naive paintings of Kolache women. And there's a really interesting part of Serbia where Slovak immigrants went to Serbia. I think 300 years ago they went, and they've maintained their Slovak language and folk culture within Serbia. And then there's this movement of naive painting. So these are painters who have not been classically trained or formally trained, and they paint these vibrant, colorful pictures depicting life in the villages, rural life, and they're so significant that they were named to be part of UNESCO. And we're getting 55 paintings that are all actually by female artists, which is another interesting twist on this. So it's not like something we've never seen here before. So that's going to be a pretty significant art display here in the United States. And then after it is here, I believe it's going on to Paris in 2027. So, first stop Cedar Rapids and then, on to Paris. So we're pretty excited about that. And I'm going to click over here to my next one. And then a smaller exhibit that we're having that a professor from the Czech Republic offered to us that he created is about Moritz Benjovsky. And we in America have probably not heard of Moritz Benjovsky, but he's somebody who's well known in Slovakia in particular. And he is touted as the first European globetrotter. So he was around in the 18th century, and he was traveling all over the world, including to the United States, and was helping out with our American Revolution. So it kind of has a tie-in to America 250 this year, in that this was a person who knew George Washington and who knew Benjamin Franklin, and who was trying to negotiate between some of the other powers of Europe and the United States as far as helping to provide extra soldiers. And another interesting thing, he didn't just concentrate on the United States. He was named the King of Madagascar. So I'm interested to learn more about that, because I think that's a really interesting title for a Slovak nobleman to have, as the King of Madagascar. So we'll get to look at the exhibit and see what that says. Then we're borrowing an exhibit from Texas. I think it's the Humanities Texas created an exhibit called Forgotten Gateway, Coming to America Through Galveston Island. And when I saw this exhibit online, I thought, wow, that's going to be really interesting for us, because part of our Faces of Freedom exhibit has the stories of immigration, and we tell people that some people did travel on the ship all the way to Galveston. They didn't get off at Ellis Island or in New York. They went all the way around the coast and landed in Galveston, Texas. And that's why there is a significant Czech population in Texas, is because some people that's where they disembarked from their immigration journey. So this is an exhibit about all the immigrants coming in through Galveston, not just the Czechs or Slovaks. So I think that'll really be interesting, because we've never been able to tell that specific of a story before. And here, the Humanities Texas has really done a really nice exhibit. That'll be in our Anderson Gallery this summer, June 13th to August 16th, as a matter of fact. Another exhibit that's going to be here in the library that the library staff is working on is to display a collection of antiquarian books that were given to us by John Micah. And that's an exhibit that we'll have to learn more about as time goes on, but that is something that we want to do in the library, is definitely have the librarian be able to display important things in the library collection, because we show the artifact collection all the time in our galleries, but the library is a really nice space where people can see some of the things that we collect. The library collects not only books and periodicals, but archival materials like ledgers from Czech or Slovak businesses and organizations, some of these frame documents that I talked about before, some photographs. So all these things are really important for research and documenting the Czech and Slovak story. And so these antiquarian books are really an important part of our collection as well. So that's going to be a really interesting exhibit. We don't usually get things like that. And another exhibit that's going to be here in the library after the antiquarian books is something that is being worked on right now, and it's called Hero of the Czech Resistance, the Miloslava Gishvindova story. And this is a story that was born out of some letters. A family had these letters from their relative, and it turns out that she was part of the resistance, the Czech resistance to the Nazi occupation during World War II. And she was actually captured and went through a trial, was convicted, and was actually executed. So we have her story, her photos, things that she wrote to her family. So there's a scholarly paper being prepared about this woman and her amazing story, and then we will get an exhibit out of it as well. So that's going to be a really interesting topic for us. And then in the fall, Spotlight on Slovakia will be gone, but we will be focusing on our Bohemian artifacts. So, we try to have a balance between Czech and Slovak, and history, art, culture. We really try to balance our exhibits out so that we're showing different topics that different people are going to be interested in. And the Legacy of Bohemia will feature artifacts that are specifically related to Bohemia, and that is going to be hard to choose because we have so many wonderful things in our collection, like garnets, that's Bohemian, a lot of glassware, perfume bottles, puppets, and of course wonderful folk dress and folk art that is definitely tied to Bohemia. So look for that one in the fall of 2026. That will be a really fun exhibit for us to put. We just like showing our own collections sometimes. It's great to borrow exhibits and artifacts from other institutions, but sometimes when we can just dig into our own archives and say, look at what we actually have here in the museum is great. And the final big exhibit of 2026 will also be in the fall, probably around October 10th. And we're going to have landscape sculpture by Jana Bršudová and Stanislav Kicha. And they are both really well-known sculptors in Slovakia, using a lot of metal and wood. And these are really gorgeous sculpture that we're really excited to get here. We have not had very many sculpture exhibits, so I think that this will be a great opportunity to show that kind of art and these two Slovak artists who are really quite well known in Slovakia. Jana Bršudová actually creates some of the awards for various ceremonies in Slovakia. Like, so if an award receiver is going to get some kind of object to show, it's not just a trophy, it's a sculpture from this wonderful artist in Slovakia. So that's going to be October 10th, hopefully until next March. So that's carrying us all the way into 2027, which I can hardly believe we're talking about that. And I think the final exhibit I'll talk about is a traveling exhibit that we create panel traveling exhibits, which you might have seen if you go to one of your local Sokol organizations or a Czech or Slovak meeting that you might attend, or any kind of festival. We have these traveling exhibit panels. This is a panel that is not part of a traveling exhibit. They look a lot like this panel that's behind Tricia and I. And they can be on a variety of topics. And the newest topic that we're working on, it's at the printers right now, is all about orloi and astronomical clocks. And specifically because we have an orloi here on our campus, which we probably were talking about a lot last year, the excitement of having our own astronomical clock here. So this exhibit is kind of about orloi and astronomical clocks around the world, and the Prague Orloy, and then our own Orloy. So that's kind of the whole year in exhibits. I know it's a lot, and the traveling exhibit program continues too, so that if you can't come here, hopefully you can see one of our traveling panel exhibits somewhere near you, and that's something you definitely can contact the museum about if you're interested to know more. So we're going to turn it over to Tricia Spence, Director of Communications. Tricia, thanks for thanks for joining us. So what are you going to, I've told about all the exhibits that are happening, but that's not all that happens around here. So what else is going on?
We have a very full year of programs and events. We're already well into the year. By now it's only February, but we've been busy. We have one more curator guided tour of Spotlight on Slovakia with our wonderful curator. So you get to see the ins and out of the exhibit. You can see the recreated Chichmani house and learn about the symbols that are adorning the house, as well as in the Kroye and on different art inside of that exhibit. And there's 2 opportunities to join our curator for the Soul of Moravia, Joza Uprka Reprise. There's one on March 7th and March 18th. And that'll be really delightful.
Yeah, those are fun. We've done a couple of the Slovak ones already and had good turnout, and it's just a chance to hear me talk about maybe some more detail than is in the labels on the exhibit, because there's usually a story behind almost everything that you can enhance it a little bit with that.
It was really fun when George Drost was here and talking about the Uprka collection. It's like each painting was his personal friend, and he knew exactly where it came from and the story behind it, and it's just delightful to understand.
That's really the best. If the actual collector or the artist gives a tour, you learn so much from that.
Yeah, and that George Drost talk is available on NCSML TV. There's also 2 curator guided tours. Well, there's more on NCSML TV, but specifically Spotlight on Slovakia and Joza Uprka curator guided tours are available for free on NCSML TV this month. So if you're not able to attend the tours in person, or if you want to relive the magic of the exhibit and the event, go ahead and go to ncsmltv.com and watch as long as you want and as many times as you want. It's on the way to your homes right now. If you're an NCSML member, we are mailing out the 2026 programs, events, and exhibits brochure to you. So this is a month-to-month look at what's going on here for exhibits, for any kind of workshops or concerts or our signature events. They're all included in here. And if you're not a member and you would like to receive the brochure, just give us a call, 319-362-8500, or email us at info@ncsml.org, and we'll go ahead and mail you one or send you an electronic version. But always check our website for updated information, registration links, that type of thing. But right away, in addition to our curator guided tours, we have March is very full of music. We can hear the Ambrose Duo. It's a concert of chamber works, or violin and piano. Just before speaking to you fine folks, I added the sort of program for the evening on the website listing. I'm like, oh, this is really exciting. So very good songs that they will perform. We will also have Caitlin Bosca. She'll be here for 2 workshops and 2 concerts. She's one of our favorite performers here. And she's performing a special song that she created about our Orloy, the Orloy Fantasy.
Wow.
So that will be super delightful. And speaking of the Orloy season opens the first day of spring, March 20th. It's finally thawing out here in Iowa, so it's great to look forward to the first day of spring. So again, at noon, the 12 figures of immigrants will emerge. We'll hear the first song of the season, and we'll just kick off the Orloy season. We also have egg decorating workshops with Emily Nadel. That's Marge Nadel's granddaughter. She's continuing this great tradition that the master folk artist Marge Nadel created. So you can learn the traditional batik wax relief method. There are 3 opportunities to do that. I think this is a Friday, March 20th at noon, and then again Saturday, March 21st at 9 a.m. And if you like to sleep in like I do, March 21st at 1 p.m. All these details are online, so just keep clicking around and you'll find something to do. But the spring is super busy. We have our big week at the end of April and into May with our economic summit. The theme this year is shaping opportunities for our collective future. We have a great lineup of speakers and presentations ready for you. And we also are going to have our gala. That is always a long but really fun evening with all the people that we love and adore. And Hobie Days is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I was just talking to our store director about the different things that she'll have available in the store during the spring, and it's really quite exciting. So a very awesome lineup. We'll keep hearing about these events throughout the year. But it's a great opportunity if you're from out of town, out of state, to come visit Cedar Rapids for a weekend. You catch one of our great exhibits and a program, and to see what's going on in Cedar Rapids. There are lots of great restaurants, fun shopping, all sorts of things to do. And I'm really quite excited. I've been posting like all over the place about the Cedar Rapids tourism guide because our Orloy is on the cover, and I'm very excited about it. So there's lots of things to do, and my favorite part is there's a Cedar Rapids bingo in the back, and one of the items is try a Kolache. And those are available in the museum store if you want a fresh baked Kolache from our wonderful Kolache crew. February also kicks off the Check 'Em Out Book Club. So we have a wonderful lineup. The first book is about hockey team. So, Winter Olympics, this is a nice tie-in. There are also some great books that tie into America 250 and President Havel's 90th birthday, and just wonderful memoirs, fiction, biographies, nonfiction, just a wonderful, well-rounded set of books that our volunteers and our store director have put together for us all. So that is quite wonderful. Of course, we have Brunos in the fall. That this year is Friday, September 18th. Old World Christmas Market will be the first weekend in December. That's December 5th and 6th. And, always follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram to get the newest information, our website, of course. And speaking of the website, we'll have a refreshed site up very soon. So bigger, bolder photos. The navigation menu will be just a little bit different, but hopefully easier for you to find all of our great exhibits, our programs, our events, and just how to find us, how to find all the great resources that are in the library and our online artifacts collection, our oral histories. There's so much that is totally accessible online, a lot of free access things. So we're really excited about launching that new website this year. And yeah, that's
so much, and that's
a busy year.
I know it took hardly any time to tell about it, but it's something that we work on all these things constantly, and always busy around here to take part in that. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you a follow-up question on the Check 'Em Out Book Club. Is that something that people can participate in online only if they're distant, or is it something you need to come in for?
It's both.
Oh.
So that's the third Monday of every month. And if there's just one book you want to read, like there's a great Sissy Spacek book in the list of like, I want to read that, you can just attend one. You can attend all of them, and you can come here in person and hear other people's thoughts, or you can join remotely from wherever you are across the world. Just mind the time zone change.
Yeah.
And just have a great, robust discussion about the contents of the book and your reaction and your own personal anecdotes of how you relate. So you can join any of them every third Monday.
Oh, every third Monday.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, it's like any other year. We always look at our calendar and we're like, wow, we're doing so much, and which we love doing, and we get such positive feedback from our attendees and people who look at our online programs, and so I'm really glad we're able to share all of that with so many people. And I think that we are done with our whirlwind tour of 2026, right? Okay. Thanks so much for joining us for Coffee and Kolache, and look for us in March probably will be the same March 6th, 2026. We'll have another coffee and Kolache for you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.